Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new to this channel, my name is DJ Benoit and I am 20 years old and I am a junior at Montclair State University. So for this video, I kind of wanted to talk about my mental health journey and how I'm dealing with mental health through quarantine. So first things first, I want to know how you guys' quarantine is going. I hope everybody's doing okay. I hope everybody is finding time to really help with their mental health situation, everything. So first things first, I wanted to talk about my mental health journey before quarantine started. I have suffered with anxiety since about the beginning of high school, and I've always struggled with really bad anxiety and not being able to hang out with my friends because of it, or not being able to join clubs or do sports or really do anything outside of school because of this really bad anxiety I had.
So at this point of the video, my dog started scratching at my door and crying. So that's what you hear in the background. I didn't let her in. I usually do let her into my room. I didn't let her in only because um, she tends to make a mess in my room when I'm not paying attention, and I wasn't really paying attention while doing this video, and I didn't want to have her in my room. Her making a mess. So if you hear scratching or whining, that's my dog. It doesn't last the entire video. She ends up leaving and going to my sister's room after a couple minutes.
At one point, I was prescribed medication to help my anxiety lessen and all that stuff. I'm not going to talk about the medication that I took because I just think that's a little too personal, but I was given medication for it, and at the end of the day, I felt like it didn't help me as much as I had hoped for it, and I just suffered a lot of the consequences that came with the medication. So I just decided to stop taking it and kind of find a way to cope with my anxiety through just like meditation and exercise and stuff like that. Stuff that a lot of people were telling me were helping them with their anxiety, or who I was watching, like YouTubers who had talked about how they went through the anxiety and like steps they took that wasn't necessarily medication, but was more like home remedies style. I don't know the word I want to use, but not really home remedies, but like just dealing with it without having to get medication involved.
So I just want to take time out of the video to say that if you take medications for anxiety, that this is no judgment on you. Um, some things work for people and some things don't work for people. I think the word consequences is not the word I was meant to use there. I should have read side effects because I was just suffering from terrible side effects of taking them. But no judgment on you if you take them, and I'm happy if you found a way to cope with it that I didn't. Everybody's journey is different, so.
So I started doing like meditation. I just started working out more, and I think also just facing your anxiety full front with force is like, I think, one of the best ways that helped me deal with my anxieties. I did things that actually scared me and gave me anxiety instead of running away from it, because I realized me running away from it just made my anxiety grow more, because I was always afraid, and when you're afraid, you don't really know what's going to happen. Your anxiety, at least for me, my anxiety got worse, where if I had just did it and knew what I was getting myself into, my anxiety kind of lessened. So I just did whatever was scaring me full front, and I think that helped me a lot better when it came to my anxiety. And then when I got to college, my first semester in college, I suffered from depression, and I think a lot of it had to do with I'm not really good at making new friends, and I tend to like to be by myself more, and I think that doesn't really pair well when it comes to having anxiety. I'm not really an outgoing person when it comes to new people, more with just people I already know, and I didn't like being outside of my dorm room. I didn't really hang out with anybody except for my roommate. I went to class and I went to my room, and that was it. I didn't do anything else, and I think that really played a role in my anxiety. I was in a new surrounding. I didn't know anybody, and all my friends kind of was moving on in their life, and I just felt like I was so stuck. It's not good to compare yourself with other people, especially if you have anxiety and depression. But I just spent so much time comparing myself to other people, and I spent so much time just just really by myself, really alone, and I felt really lonely, and I felt really depressed. And even like I came home every weekend, and then even when I came home every weekend, I would still spend time in my bedroom. I didn't go see my friends who were home also on the weekend, so it like really didn't help me. And I suffered through anxiety mostly my first semester. I think my second semester I found my footing a little more, but I still was not really, I never really went back to where I was before I started college. And then the, the second semester of my freshman year of college, my dad suffered a stroke, and that was really the hardest point in my life, because at that point I had never really been like I never really had a very close relationship with my father, and the idea of losing him scared me beyond a doubt. So I think I really got really scared, and I just sunk even more into my depression and my grades. Like, I wasn't failing any of my classes, but I wasn't really striving to do well either. I was just being complacent, just like, oh, I got a B or a C. Oh, that's fine. At least I didn't fail. Like, you know what I mean? I was being very complacent. I didn't really care for school. And at that point, I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life. Like, I came into college knowing very well what I wanted to do. And I think that changed for me after I started my first semester, just because of like the classes I was taking and the people I was surrounding myself with at the time and stuff like that. So I was very confused, and it was just not a good time for me at all. I think my freshman year of college, I consider it the lowest point of my life. It was so bad. But what really got me out of my depression, and I know this sounds like really weird and it's like not something a lot of people think, but I found BTS. Like, this is not like a thing where it's like, this is not a video where I talk about them. I really do want to make a separate video on how BTS changed my life, but I found BTS. And I know that sounds like, why are you finding yourself in a band? Why don't you find things in like yourself and other things and stuff like that? But it wasn't really like finding myself. It was more like finding a way to enjoy things again. I think they really taught me how to look forward to things, look forward to new adventures, look forward to life. And not only just that, like, I really did learn. I've always been a self-confident person, I'm not gonna lie. Like, not that I think I'm like the most beautiful person in the world, but I've never really struggled with self-confidence until I got depressed. And I think that they kind of helped me get on that journey of finding my confidence again. So that was like a big thing for me. Now, throughout all of this, I have suffered with migraines since middle school. I have chronic migraines. Even till this day, I suffer from migraines. And the medication that I was taking my freshman year of college really exacerbated my depression and made it worse. And I knew taking the medication, I had already found out that this was like a side effect of it, especially at my age. But I really was living with these migraines where I had constant migraines every single day. I couldn't even like, it was just so like, I couldn't even leave my room. I couldn't go to class. Like, it was so bad. So I was like, well, I really need to take something to just help me just live, because I felt like at that point I wasn't living. I just was in my room all the time, sleeping. I couldn't sleep with the lights on. I couldn't sleep, nothing. Just like in my room, pitch black, nothing. So I just decided to take these migraine medication, and it really did make my depression worse. So yeah, I just didn't, I left like after a while, and I stopped taking my migraine medication, and not because like I wanted to, but mostly because I didn't have a choice. At that time my mom had lost her health insurance and I was under her, and we didn't have any way for me to get my medication, and they were really expensive paying out of pocket. So unfortunately I had to stop taking them, and my migraines got worse and my depression got worse, and it was a really bad time for me. And this was going on during like the summer between my freshman year in college and my sophomore year in college. My sophomore year in college, I want to say, got a lot better for me. I decided to become a commuter instead of staying on campus, and I think in a ways that helped me a lot because I wasn't really eating on campus because I have a very sensitive stomach, and I was bringing home cooked meals that my mom had made me to campus anyway, so I was being able to eat home cooked meals every single day. I saw my friends that from high school a lot more because we all live in the same area and they were commuters too, so I saw my friends more, and I generally was just able to go out more. I had a car now, so traveling was easier, going places that I enjoyed going was easier, so that really helped me a lot. But my dad also suffered another stroke my sophomore year of college, my sophomore year of college. So that was another factor that really changed everything. At that point in my life, my dad had always been working 2 jobs, and we never really struggled with money. Like I've incredibly blessed with my life, and I don't take any of that for granted. I've always been blessed with being able to afford things because of where my parents were in life. And after my dad suffered his stroke, he wasn't working anymore, and money became tight in my house, and I had to pick up a job. Not that I had never worked before. I always worked for like a couple months, and during the summer when I was in high school, or like maybe even like during the school year I would work, but not really, because my parents really wanted me to focus on school and not really have to worry about working. So during my sophomore year in college, I ended up picking up a job because we just couldn't afford. I couldn't really ask my parents for things anymore because we couldn't afford them, and I just wanted to help my parents out. So I got a job, and I think the job kind of helped me too because it kind of got me out of my house more, and I think staying at home was really affecting my mental health. I was like always by myself. I don't really talk to people on the phone, stuff like that. So it really did help me with all that. And then throughout the rest of my sophomore year and even my junior year, I've just been really focused on my mental health and how I can just be better at be more on track, everything like that. So for the past year and a half, I've been really just focused on getting out the house more and just seeing my friends more and just finding joy in small things that I had maybe taken for granted before, but just like really small things that maybe like other people wouldn't find like happiness in, but really helped me just to keep pushing to the next day, to the next day. Because I didn't really talk about this earlier, but for in my freshman year of college, I had suicidal thoughts. I had really contemplated on taking my own life, and I think that's what really pushed me into just saying, I am not in the right mental space right now. I need to find a way to get to a better point in my life. And I think for me that was the lowest point in my life, and that was the point where I realized, okay, I'm really depressed. There's something wrong with me, and I need to find a way to just take that step to get better, you know what I mean? And it was a lot for me, but I think that really like pushed me, and it was a lot, but it really, oh my god, I'm gonna cry. It really helped me to just figure out what I need instead of just giving myself up for people or just always thinking what everybody else needs and how I can help myself. I'm sorry. But yeah, so I really just this last year and a half, I mean, I'm still struggling every day with just, not being so down on myself, not being so rough on myself and stuff like that. But um, I think I'm really just getting there. It's a process, it's a journey. It's not a 1 2 3 done thing. So it's really helped me to like just get there, to get just on the journey. So when quarantine started, I've been in quarantine in my house for about 6 weeks now. Since I think the second or third week of March. I think the second week of March, I want to say. I have no idea. Okay, but I've been in quarantine for about 6 weeks now. I've been quarantined since my spring break. I when For me, when it had started, when they started telling people to stay home, my mom suffers from lupus, thus she was afraid of us catching it and just like bringing it home to her, and I was afraid of that too. So I just started to like limit myself from going outside unless I was going to work or I was going to school. But when I started spring break, I had no reason to go outside other than for work, and I work at a doctor's office and there's only a few of us in the office. And when I started spring break, the doctor was on vacation, so there was no patients coming in. I was just going in for paperwork and stuff like that. So yeah, I was in quarantine going from home to work for about 2 weeks. And then when my sister, who is in high school, her school shut down, that's when I went into complete quarantine. I stopped going to work because my job had decided they were closing down too for everything, and the doctor was going to work through phone calls, so there was no need for me to go into the office anymore. I started just going into complete quarantine. Now, I'm really not an outside, like I don't like really like going outside that much. I do like spending a lot of time at home, but at the same time, through my mental health journey, I realized that maybe being inside all the time is not the best option for me, and I decided to start going out more. So for me, quarantine was really hard because I was home all the time, and I didn't know how to snap myself out of it. The first like week I was home, I was like going to sleep really late or just sleeping all day all night. I just didn't know what to do with myself, and I just lost motivation to do anything and everything. And then around like the second week of me being completely quarantined, I decided that I'm not doing this again. Like, it was just, no, I need to find some type of just routine, something to help me just like stay sane. So I started just laying out, like figuring out some type of routine. I actually have a calendar up here just to tell me what I need to do like every day, what to do, and like because I'm doing school online at Montclair, so what to do every day, what just like stuff like that, just to help me like really snap out of it, just to like keep going.
So this isn't a very detailed routine. I'm planning on doing a separate video where I do a more detailed version and probably like a day in my life type thing. So this is just like just like a small run through of everything. So yeah.
So every day I try to wake up around the time my class would start. Normally at Montclair on Tuesdays and Thursdays I would have had an 8:30, meaning that I would have to left my house at 7 to make it to my 8:30 class. Now I'm not waking up as early as I would have at that point, but I am trying to like just wake up early enough so I can have some semblance in my life. So I usually try to wake up around 9:30, 10 o'clock. I think that's the best time for me. So I get my hours, but I still have time to do homework and stuff like that. So I usually wake up, I take a shower, I do my morning skincare. I don't do makeup only because on a regular basis I wasn't really wearing that much makeup anyways, and I just felt that was a little too much for me, so I didn't do makeup. But maybe I would do my hair that day, or maybe I would like put a scarf on to help me feel, you know, presentable, not like I'm just walking around the house, you know what I mean? And then maybe I would change out of pajamas into maybe some like sweats, you know, something that like I would, not dressing up, but something I would wear outside, maybe something comfortable that I wouldn't mind leaving the house in. So that just to help me feel better. And then I would eat breakfast, then I would start my homework, eat lunch, take my dog out for a walk, then I would cook maybe a meal or two depending on the day, depending if my mom was home, because she still has to go to work since she's considered an essential worker. But yeah, stuff like that, just to help me really find just normal, like something normal. Because this situation is not normal, but we all need some normalcy. So yeah, and then just cook dinner, you know, maybe that night I would talk to my friends on the phone through FaceTime, or I would watch a movie with my family, or I would watch a movie with myself, you know, maybe start a new show, go, you know, social media really helps you, like social media is a blessing and a curse, because I think before all of this I really found social media to make me feel very out of place in the world.
While I was filming, something happened to make me stop. So the lighting is different because this is like a little later in the day, and the camera angle is different because I couldn't figure out the exact angle I had before. But just bear with me. I'm sorry.
But yeah, I think social media is actually a good way to be able to connect with people, especially now that we're all in isolation, that we're all quarantined. So I did find like solace in social media again, being able to talk to my friends who are abroad, and being able to talk to my friends that are in the United States but I don't necessarily talk to on a daily basis, but I just get to see what they're up to. So I think that helps a lot. If you guys have any suggestions on what to do to help with your mental health during this time, if you can just leave a comment in the comment section below, and I would like to know what you guys do. So yeah, make sure you like this video just so I can know if I should make more videos like this. Subscribe to my channel, and then also share this video with somebody you know who's dealing with mental health. I kind of want to just, you know, see how everybody else is dealing with their mental health and hear about other people's mental health journey. I really think that, you know, everybody's journey is different, and even though something might not work for you, it works for somebody else. It feels nice to know that people are not alone out there. So yeah, share this video with anybody else, and I'll see you guys next time.